Hello friends, how are you? I hope you're really well today, and right here you can get a better British accent. Today we're talking about Estuary English, the modern British accent. In this video I'll show you what Estuary English is, where people speak it, and who speaks it. But first, a little bit of background on the accent. And, by the way, my regular accent, which is this, you would consider to be Estuary English. So I use all the characteristics of Estuary English from time to time, and I fit all the characteristics of someone who speaks Estuary English. Right, so let's get back to basics. Cockney, right? Cockney is from London, the East End of London, and it is traditionally a working class accent, and nowadays there are very few real Cockney speakers left. Now, after the war, many Cockney speakers left London and moved to counties like Essex and Kent. Kent is where I grew up. And they mixed with the people in these counties, and the accent that they had started to change the way people spoke in these counties. So if you can imagine, you have RP speakers generally outside of London, and the Cockneys came, mixed with them, and then you got this Estuary English accent, which really first really appeared in the 1980s, but now is very much established in the south of England as a new accent. So if you really want to speak like young British people speak these days, listen carefully to this Estuary English accent tutorial. So you can see on my map here that Estuary English, so the estuary or the Thames estuary comes from London, and it's all about where people live around the counties near the Thames. So what are the language characteristics of Estuary English? Well, firstly, you can exchange a L sound for a W sound. For example, you can say, I'm going for a walk, I'm going for a walk, a walk. You can say, I'd love to travel around the world, 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 world. So that's a characteristic of Estuary English. Another one, which I have already made a video on, is the glottal stop. Now, the glottal stop is where you drop your T sound and you replace it with a throaty sound. And if you said the phrase uh-oh, 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 then that is like the glottal stop. So, I was watching a film the other day, and one of the characters said, now this is interesting, he said, he's a nutter, he's a nutter. He could have said, he's a nutter, nutter. But actually he wanted to emphasize what he wanted to say, so he didn't drop his T's, and that is the point. There really are no hard and fast rules connected with speaking Estuary English, because it's up to the individual how they want to use these techniques when they speak. So sometimes I drop my T's and other times I don't. Another one is where you can drop the H or the H sound. So you can say to your friend, "Oi mate, where's he gone?" And you can say, "He's gone to the house. He's gone to the house. The house." Or the house, depending on how you say it, right? More Cockney would be, "He's gone to the house. He's gone to the house." Another characteristic is the way you say what do we call the underground in London? So an RP speaker, and in dictionaries you'll find it's pronounced tube, tube, with a y sound. So you can say Tuesday as an RP speaker, and as an estuary speaker you might say Tuesday, Tuesday. So it's very common now to say ch instead of tje. Another interesting one is the pronunciation of the video channel. I would say YouTube, but Americans would say YouTube. And I guess RP speakers would say YouTube. You see, it's not that simple really. Now, if you want to see another video of mine, you can click above and you can see the video on how to speak RP and posh and find out more about that. Now, who speaks Estuary English? Now, the range of people who speak it is very broad. We can go from Tony Blair to Jamie Oliver. Tony Blair, the ex-British Prime Minister, and Jamie Oliver, the chef. We can also add in Ricky Gervais from The Office, Russell Brand, and Jonathan Ross. They have all been quoted as speaking Estuary English. However, the way Tony Blair speaks it is quite different from the way Jamie Oliver speaks it. Tony Blair is more RP and Jamie Oliver is more Cockney. So Tony Blair might say, "So the virus is travelling round the world. The world." I've heard him say world. And Jamie Oliver might say, "Right, so here we go. Right, today we're making pasta. And we've got the ingredients ready. And we're just going to look at the recipe. And here we go. Oh, lovely jubbly. Look at this. Oh, look at this, eh? Oh." He loves doing that. And that's Jamie Oliver. Russell Brand, on the other hand, he talks a bit like this. So yeah, so what's going on with the state of the world at the moment, right? You know, I mean, God, you know, you got to be careful with everything, blah, blah, blah. And there's a link to Russell Brand's interview with Jeremy Paxman, who is an RP speaker. It's a fantastic interview. It's funny as well, but you've got the RP speaker on one side and the estuary speaker on the other side to compare. Ricky Gervais, on the other hand, he's got rather a neutral accent. It's not too strong, but there are features of Estuary English as well. And I guess the same with Jonathan Ross. He's a bit more London. He talks a bit like that, you know, a bit like street cred, you know. So you know, when are you? He does a lot of interviews. So I hear your next film's coming out soon, yeah? Something like that. So that's the comparison between different Estuary English speakers. Now, what is the future of Estuary English? Well, I think that Estuary English will take over. I mean, it has already, but I think it will be a well-established language into the future as more and more young people speak it, especially when there's no social divide when you speak it, right? So if you're not British, you might not understand the complexities of British social class and society, but there is very much an accent difference between the middle class and the working class. But Estuary English is trying to bring us together in that sense. So a posh speaker could change their accent slightly to be a bit more cooler, to have an edge to it. They might speak in a bit more Estuary English. And a Cockney speaker might, or a working class person might want to just change their accent a bit to sound a little bit more RP and a little bit more educated for whatever reason. So that is Estuary English. We've done it. Thank you for watching. And lastly, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And you can also comment. Maybe, do you like the Estuary English accent? Which accent do you prefer? I'd love to hear from you. All I need to say now is have a fantastic day and stay connected.